All right, Lou, you ready? Good.
Always.
All right. All right, so I am taking the lead today for Terry. So just wanted to introduce, I'm Sean Kennedy. And looking around, we do have quorum, so I'm going to officially call this meeting to order at 5 p.m. Just wanted to get a sense, did everyone have a chance to look at the minutes?
Mm-hmm.
Can I make a motion to approve the minutes from December?
So moved.
Jess? All in favor? All right, so we'll move on to possible action items. The dance team field trip, the review.
Okay. Hi, I'm Tony D'Angelo. I'm the athletic director at Stratford High School. Our dance team was offered an opportunity in the summer to attend a nationals competition in Orlando. I have to take fall for this. My dance coach, Coach Miller, who will explain a little bit more about the dance opportunity that they have, submitted all the paperwork to us in October. I signed off on it. Somehow the paperwork did not go through the right channels and everything. And when I spoke with administration at the building, we tried to get everything together right just before Thanksgiving. With the holidays, it came a little late, so I do apologize. But she's done a tremendous job fundraising for it. They have 12 girls that are going, and they're really excited about this opportunity. And she's going to talk a little bit about the opportunity that they have.
Sure. So this is the dance competition. It's called Universal Dance Association, sponsored by Varsity. It's been going on for numerous years. I actually attended it when I was in high school and on dance team. It's an unbelievable opportunity for the girls to go and compete at a national level. We will fly out to Orlando, and competition starts on Friday. And you are competing at the ESPN Worldwide of Disney, so this is all live streamed through varsity.com, so the parents that are at home, people that are at home have the opportunity to watch it. There's numerous other dance teams that go throughout the state of Connecticut. We actually have like a great little group of coaches that have like kind of come together and are helping each other. A few new coaches this year, many coaches that have been going for 10 plus years. It's just it's an amazing opportunity to get to take them out of the usual grind of teams that they see all the time, judges that they see all the time, and get feedback on a higher level, especially for those girls that want to compete or go on to college and dance teams in college. It's run in the exact same way that the college nationals is run. College nationals is this weekend, so we're going to watch the nationals this weekend to kind of get an idea of it, and then going on and performing at nationals. It's just a great opportunity for them to kind of see a higher level of dance that they don't necessarily get to see in Connecticut. And bringing it back, we have our SWC competition a few days later. So coming back and bringing everything we learned from that to try and get first at SWCs and see how far we can go at the state competition this year.
And I would just like to add, our girls, because they found out about this opportunity in the summer, have spent the entire fall fundraising, doing so many different things, working every game, every fall event, every winter event. They've done a tremendous amount of work and effort to try to prepare for it.
It's a great group of girls. I'm really, really lucky. I get told all the time that I'm one of the only coaches that we don't ever have to worry about grades or, attitudes or anything. So they're super deserving. This is my 4th year coaching, so this group of seniors is like my babies I came from my freshmen. So they've worked their butt off for the last 4 years to try and be able to do an opportunity like this.
And it's the first year?
It's the first year, so we'll be the first Stratford team ever to compete at nationals, either Stratford or Bunnell for dance, which is super exciting. Some of the other like Hamden, Branford, Norwich Free Academy are some of the teams that have gone. They go kind of every year, so the coaches them have been super, super helpful with how to do things and stuff like that. So it's been really nice.
Anyone have any questions?
I had a question. Is the fundraising, has it covered all the costs for the girls?
No, it hasn't,
Okay.
but we are on par with what other teams in our for dance spend. So we kind of compared the cost to what like cheerleading has done for the year. Our girls are actually they aren't paying much more than cheerleading pays, and that includes our choreography, our costumes, our the makeup, the and then all the costs for flying out to Disney and the whole package of everything.
So about how much is it per?
Total, it is about, total our entire fees for the entire year, which like I said include apparel, the camp that we went to over the summer to qualify, choreography, costumes, like I said, their team apparel for the whole year, and then everything that includes nationals was $2,000, and we got that down to under $1,000 per girl for the year. Like I said, cheer, our cheer coach, our cheer team's budget for the year is like $1,200, so it's like roughly close to that, and then we had payment plans throughout the season.
And all the girls are able to?
Yep, everybody is going, nobody had any issues, yeah.
I saw that there were, do you have parents volunteering to
Yeah,
go
so we have
with you?
9
Okay.
parents that
Oh,
are
that's
going.
great.
Yeah,
Okay.
so they're very, very excited. They're very involved.
Good.
They are, they're actually being really great. They're throwing them like a going away party. We have t-shirts for them, Mickey Mouse ears for them, like all this stuff. So we have 9 parents that are going. They're staying in the same hotel as us. It's through the competition. They like bought passes through that. So, they know I'm in charge the whole time, and then we have set times where we are able to go with them to the parks and things like that. It's a little hard to make a full schedule when you don't know how far you're going to go because there's rounds, so every day is a different round. So, we know we're competing on Friday, twice on Friday, and then we'll see from there. But the parents have been awesome and are organizing a ton of stuff, like a team dinner and stuff like that they've all organized.
So if there's no questions on that, I'd like to entertain a motion to make a favorable recommendation to the Board of Ed to approve this. Do we have a motion? Second?
Second.
All right, and we'll do a roll call vote. Go ahead.
It was Lisa and Jessica.
Yep. Yep.
Jessica.
And we'll do a roll call vote. Dr. Graff?
Yes.
Mrs. Ford?
Yes.
Mrs.
Yes.
Valle? Jessica? Jessica?
Yes.
Both Jessicas?
Yes.
Yes.
And Chair votes yes. Thank you very much.
Awesome.
Good
Thank
luck.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah, they're so excited.
Is it
Thank
going to
you.
be on TV? Can we
So
watch it?
it'll be varsity.com. I'll definitely get a video I can send to Tony to send over. And then if they make it to finals will be on ESPN. So
That's exciting.
yeah, it's
Good
super
luck.
excited.
Yeah.
Thank you
Very
guys.
much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I want.
All right, we will move on to Sam presenting on the technology curriculum.
Thank you. So in front of you guys received over a while back, the current draft. I do want to emphasize that this is a draft, and just to kind of give you a backstory.
Not sure if I have that. Yeah, this is it, right?
That's so last spring, the 7th grade teachers, the prior 7th grade teachers in middle school, and looking at our curriculum or lack thereof, and discovered that we were doing things differently in both schools. And so the plan was to start writing it in the spring to have something for you in the beginning of the school year. A little disruption in that plan, and now over the summer we ended up with 2 brand new computer science teachers. And so it ended up that, we've recognized for the past year or 2 really that we need an actual curriculum and a curriculum that also adheres to the new template that the state and all other curriculums are being revised into. So I spent some time over the summer basically contacting the state and reviewing several other districts' computer science curriculum. This particular course used to be keyboarding. We've obviously since moved away from that. Then we renamed it to tech and literacy. And then there was a change in staffing, and the teachers did their best to try to keep pieces together. But again, there wasn't a sense of coherence. So this was kind of what I put together this summer, also knowing that we have 2 brand new to the course teaching this particular class. And so we have a curriculum that comes from, actually, this is a exemplar one that is up at Go NCT, which is what the state recommends. And I kind of weeded through because it is quite comprehensive. There's a lot packed into this. And knowing and keeping in mind, being sensitive to the teachers that I know are brand new to computer science, I had to kind of pare it down a bit too. And also knowing where our kids come from through the K-6 process, that we don't necessarily explicitly teach computer science. We get it here and there. Some of our enrichment kids dabble in it a little more so than the regular ed students and so on. So this overall is a draft. The teachers have been working through it. We like it. This is an opportunity for us to sit down and really, again, not just for me in isolation to put something together, but now that it's, in practice, we get to now revise and see what's working and so forth. And we've made some changes already, so this is really just the foundation for them to use. We have several POCs that we've obviously looked at every unit and just make sure that it really tailors to our students and where they're coming from and where they're at. So I really, at some points I want to make, again, this is an introductory course, knowing, the K-6, we don't explicitly teach computer science, right? And what I really like about this is that it's a real world experience. You have problem solving built in, you have obviously computational thinking and basic programming. Computer science is another language in and of itself. We also have standards linked to this. I looked at the old document and it was really just a list of priority standards, which I don't even know where they came from, to be quite honest with you. So this links to the computer science standards. It's also ISTE standards as well too. And it incorporates and integrates a lot of math. And interestingly enough, there is a lot of writing involved too, because they do have to problem solve and also put it into their own words and formulate their reasoning. So I love the fact that it covers a wide breadth, and also science and engineering as well too. So couple things that we did discover, and again, this is part of the plan. There are some challenges that and Ms. Taylor could probably attest to, having observed some of the classes already. Because we don't teach it explicitly, the teachers are recognizing that it's taking a little longer to really finish a particular unit. And so those are some of the changes that we're going to start to make. However, both teachers recognize that we have an opportunity to see, all right, what could K-6 computer science look like now, once we get through 7th grade. And in 8th grade, they go into the PLTW courses. So we consider, what do we need to ensure that they're prepared for PLTW, but what are we going to do when we look at K-6 afterwards? So they're kind of our little guinea pigs, and I really appreciate them because they're brand new to this. It's really, fresh eyes doesn't hurt either, especially because when you obviously write curriculum, you have to consider a brand new teacher's take on what's in front of them and whether or not this is doable for them. So tonight, what I'm asking for is, this was supposed to be on your desk back in the spring, so we'd like for it to just be a consideration that you approve it as a draft, and then we'll come back with the revisions later on at the end of the year once we start it first semester, compare it to second semester, and see if there's any other major changes. The biggest change right now is the fact that it is written as a full year, but it's really a semester course. So we've already, going into semester 2, know that there's areas that we have to change, one being the length and duration of some of the lessons. So, and there's some other, as interactive as this is, there are some other, we're also sensitive to the fact that we don't want our kids always staring at the screen. So the teachers have also come up with other off-screen activities to embed into this, which still emphasizes the problem-solving skills as well too. So those are some of the changes that you'll see comes once we're finished with the full year. That's pretty much it.
So are you looking for us to move this to full board yet, or just do we need a roll?
I think initially in the spring, we were just, this was supposed to be an item for information. We were just going to ask to write, and unfortunately, given our time frame, we just had to rush it and make sure that we had something, especially for the brand new teachers coming in, that they actually had some sort of curriculum to follow and work through. So I'm not sure, Debbie, it's a consideration.
Yeah, you can just say that it's a consideration, but the committee approves it as a draft or to continue writing the full curriculum.
Yeah.
To the board.
To the point. Yep.
Okay. So I will look for a motion to pass this on to the board as a draft consideration. Have a motion?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sam, is there going to be any training provided to teachers in support of this new curriculum?
The training is already embedded, and also myself, we've basically mapped out the rest of the year. We're taking our PLC and department time. Myself and the teachers are working through each unit. But it's pretty much, as it stands through code.org and through GoOpenCT, you can pick it up and there's already embedded webinars and trainings and kind of holds the teacher's hand through it. But we also felt that we just don't want that in and of itself, and especially the fact that we also don't want the kids staring at screens for the duration of the class time, that we're going to put in other activities within the lessons too. There are opportunities at the state level, and again, we're kind of at the mercy of whether or not there's, the state's going to publish something else. But there is discussion because they're in favor of code.org and expanding that, especially the lieutenant governor. That's one of the things that the teachers do eventually want to get involved in. From the K-6 end, I will speak to the fact that our Richmond kids have experience with the lieutenant governor's computing challenge. The middle school teachers do want to eventually be a part of that, and so that's something that I'm going to, I myself can coach them through it.
And so the changes that you might make to the draft are going to be led by what the feedback from the
Teacher driven,
are?
100% teacher driven, observations from what the experiences of the students will be.
I just wanted to say, because it's a draft and it's fluid, I would just watermark it with draft across it. Because as you are going through the weeds, it's going to be very, very tricky to figure out where you were and where you need to be.
Yeah. We do have a few working documents in the drive where
Yeah.
there's some unit changes that we've already made, but when we go back into the revision, Tori, that's it. Thank you.
Now, is this something that would get on the board's agenda this month?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll make that change.
Or do you want us to wait? You want it on the agenda for this month?
I mean, it's really what the board is comfortable with doing. Given our circumstances, we had to move forward.
We'll get it on this month.
Yeah.
All right, so we have a motion.
Did you make the motion?
Yeah. The second.
Second.
And
Who was first?
who made the first motion? I entertained a motion.
Okay, Katie and I will. Oh, yes. You did the second first.
You can have it,
All right, and we'll do a roll call vote.
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
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 Justin?
Yes.
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 And Chair votes yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, and now we're going to go on to the into literature update.
So I've asked Ms. Borjali and Ms. Bader to come today to give an update on, you've heard a lot about the K-5 or K-6 literacy program. So we are also looking at 7 and 8 as well and piloting some in some classes. So I wanted this committee to hear an update on that. So again, it's just an item of information as to how things are going and answer any questions, because as we move forward, we'll have to make some decisions about whether we want to continue doing this in our middle schools.
So, hello, I'm Melissa Bader. For those who don't know me, I'm the Second 12 Series Department Head at Fidel High School. So I'll begin with our experiences at Flood. Overall, this is getting really positive feedback from teachers. For the Intellect program, I've actually brought along one of the workbooks in case you need to take a peek. Our 8th grade teachers are in a unit called The Thrill of Horror right now, and so I had the pleasure of doing kind of a deeper dive into that unit to really understand like how the units are laid out and what that looks like from here to kind of, to the classroom, like to the lesson delivery. I can go ahead and if you guys want to I can pass this along if you want to flip through it. You also have a handout that is just from HMH into Literature at Glance, so this kind of just lays out priorities. So like I said, really positive feedback from Flood, and I think I was most surprised as I kind of did a deep dive into the text itself, just at how much the units cover, which initially can be kind of a concern that like, whoa, there's a lot here, how do the teachers kind of make decisions? And that's what this pilot process is all about. They're going through and kind of, we do have like our priority standards and pathways, so you can just start here and this will, like you can kind of organize yourself by standard, and then it'll give you sort of the selected text that address those standards, in addition to a bunch of other resources. Or you can sort of do what you think students are going to be most engaged with. One of the things I liked about this book is that it doesn't necessarily follow a trajectory that needs to be in a particular order. So teachers really do have sort of the autonomy and ability to choose the places that they want to go and where they want to spend the most of their time. So I think we're kind of in that process right now of figuring out where we're doing the most zooming in. I had a long conversation with a teacher who kind of explained to me like what happens, like kids have this book, what happens when they get into the classroom. She tends to, like I said, there's a lot there. It covers a lot of things. So we talked about kind of the difference between covering and exposing and like teaching into a particular skill. We're trying to be really mindful about making sure that we're starting to build that progression now so that we can follow that in high school. She talked a lot about the rigor, which is hot. It's rigorous. I felt like there was a unit in this text that I could like reasonably give to a set of juniors with like maybe a little bit of enrichment and scaffolding up. So we had that conversation about really kind of being excited about starting here and then sort of providing the structure and the scaffold, where students are going to need them. We talked about how she kind of takes what's here, makes some decisions about what text she really wants to do the zooming in on, and then sort of transferring that to her lesson plans. That also does come with its own sort of set of lesson plans. Everything that a teacher could possibly need is included here, but the teachers are also being really discerning about like maintaining their own kind of approaches and teaching styles and wanting to make sure that they're teaching to the kids in front of them. So the teacher that I engaged with talked a lot about really meeting them where they're at and kind of translating what was here to what the students were seeing on their agenda and their day-to-day plan, and kind of providing a few like a graphic organizer where there was one needed, a couple of models where there was one needed. There's a lot of choices in terms of like projects and assessments. There's a lot of places that students can go. So that's one piece of the differentiation, but it's also a place where like you can do this in a day, or you can extend this project out and have it be like a really strong Sunday project. There's in addition, there's we haven't dived really deeply in at Flood. I'll let Liz talk about it if they know a little bit more, Liz at Worcester, but there is a section called Writable that teachers are just kind of getting to know now. So we're in sort of the second semester of this, so that's sort of our next place to go, where Intellect will kind of monitor the growth of student writing. So that's kind of where we are in terms of just where we are in our exploration, but so far, nothing but positive feedback from teachers. Liz, thoughts?
I thought Melissa did a very comprehensive review of that, but I'll just say the teachers at Worcester have echoed the same positives with the curriculum. I think they really are honing in on the differentiation component. So HMH really aims to target student growth through their differentiation down to group suggested groupings based on the balanced assessment program that they have within HMH, but also suggesting instructional supports for each learner as a result of the assessments that come back. I'm sure that there's been like a lot of conversation with Into Reading, the Scarborough Reading Rope, and Into Literature. Their elements of literacy are grounded in the language comprehension piece of the Scarborough Reading Rope. And they ground the elements of literacy in the 5 pillars from the National Reading Panel, so which align with the language comprehension piece. So everything from the way that the lesson is delivered, their delivery model, its explicit instruction, modeling, to building independence through that gradual release. So you'll see a lot of that within the unit itself. I also have some information just on research, if anyone was interested in that, but ESSA has highly rated it. I think it's a tier 2. There's some information in here about subgroups and how white, Hispanic, Black outperformed their non-into literature peers over a 3-year trajectory. So I could pass that around if anyone's interested. I wasn't part of the original packet, but I think it's worth just taking a look if you're interested in that. Right now we have, I believe, 6 teachers piloting it across the district. So there's 4 teachers that are using it with their entire sections, and then we have 2 split, right, that I think are only using it with 1 grade level because we had a little bit of some funding issues at the beginning of the year. But we are really hoping to ensure that all the teachers are able to use the curriculum next year, which will eventually be part of the budget request at that point. But again, they've said nothing but positive things about the program. Also just building positive, I guess, habits of reading, writing, and thinking behavior. So with the notice and note signposts and the anchor charts that come within the program, students are able to, you can see the thinking that comes with the reading and writing to make things visible, which is a lot of the focus areas that we have at the higher level right now. We're talking about like visible thinking, and we're talking about the tasks and those types of pieces. So we're seeing that a lot within the 7th and 8th curriculum right now through some of the strategies the students are using.
And I think, Liz, you can, if you send the research to me, that we could link it into the...
I can. This is kind of just a snippet from ESSA and What Works Clearinghouse, but there is an 80-page research brief for foundations that actually like breaks it down. What's nice about it is it talks a little bit about what the research says, and then it applies it into literature and where we would see that in the program in particular. So I can send you both of those.
And just for a point of information, I believe everybody knows that we're using Into Reading in our elementary schools, same company, and this is just moving along, the continuum.
And Into Literature
For
is
sixth
for
grade.
6th grade.
Yeah, 6th grade into literature. So that'll be good, like seamless, like transition going into middle school. So the same like model, the same concept. So.
I would just add that one of the concerns that we had was making sure that the students were accessing full text, like full length text. And so there are suggestions within each unit for short reads, long reads. So we've already begun sort of the process of purchasing both expanding classroom libraries and also choosing potential whole class novels to try to to pilot. We're kind of in conversation about what that looks like without sacrificing weeks and weeks of content to kind of continue some of what has been working in terms of just developing, as Liz pointed out, like good reading habits, and maybe devoting just Fridays to reading and conferencing, or sort of doing independent reading projects on the side. So we're still working with ways to make sure that students are continuing the process and being in habit and volume of reading that we really need them to have when they get to high school.
Any questions? Comments?
With the differentiation at our middle school, unlike our high school is leveled, right? They're leveling. In the middle school, there's no leveling. So with this, it's such a structured, whole class kind of curriculum. How is the differentiation being done when you have students at such varying levels?
Even though, well, a couple things. I think that even though it's structured, but it's not. There's a lot of places for teachers to go in here. And as I said, at the end of each text, there's several different choices of how to respond or what to do with the text. So the teachers have I've already noticed that you can do either A or B. Students are working with partners and in small collaborative groups sometimes, so there is a little bit of, sort of being pushed by peers and a little bit of sort of peer scaffolding. I think that the pacing at this point is also very appropriate for all students. There's a lot of opportunity for depth with each text, but also like the teachers have still sort of have maintained kind of the classroom structure of making sure that they're doing student one-to-one conferencing, that they're doing small group instruction to push in where needed. Those are just some of the things that I've seen so far. Is there anything that you would want to add?
So students are
Yeah.
reading independent books on their own.
Sometimes. We're still, I can't say that that's happening in every class. We're still trying to make sure that, like, so for example, Christine Ebner has Fridays, kids are reading, kids are conferencing, kids are working with their independent reading books. We are kind of brainstorming at this point about how to make sure that's still happening in the background and where to build that in. Is it 20 minutes of independent reading? Is it taking a pause in some of the units? So I can't exactly answer that question right now, but it's definitely a point of conversation. But that would be another way that we can kind of, again, differentiate and meet kids where they're at. We're still building this classroom library to sort of thematically match the units that we're going to do so that kids are still reading at a pace that works for them, and working with the text that feels appropriate.
And then my other questions have to go more along. I know this embeds the writing into, I'm just concerned that it's, I see it's like, oh, prompt this, but like really knowing how to write a.
Yeah, so I think that it's important to note that teacher instruction and sort of relying on our teachers' experiences and what they know how to do and know how to instruct is really, we're not foregoing that. We expect teachers, I think, to decide first where kids are at and what type of writing instruction needs to happen. I can't speak that specifically yet to the writing section of the course, unless you can, Liz. I'm not sure where they are at Worcester, but
I know that Elizabeth Warren was talking to me a little bit about a performance task coming at the end of a unit, which was an argumentative essay, and I would, I probably shouldn't assume, but I would think that there would be writing instruction leading up to that, so and breaking it down into pieces. The teachers are really honing in on the scaffolding, so I'm sure they talk about writing a plain, writing an introduction. I could deep dive a little bit more and ask Warren and Dr. Maxwell about it and what that actually looks like, but I do know they had a full-blown performance task at the end of a unit.
I know for K-5 and the 6th grade intro literature, I can't speak for 7th or 8th, but does have the whole writing process. Where we're finding for our grade is it is shorter time than what they're used to, by like 15, 20 minutes, which is, so even the small group, like it's embedded in all of it, even into literature. I think that the program gives so much, and because it's so new to everyone, we're trying to figure out what to put aside and what needs to be taught. So, like, we're already thinking for next year, of coming up with very specific guidelines and specific numbers and time, because they need that. They're feeling like they have to cover everything. And I think from what I heard, little bits of 7th and 8th, it's kind of similar. It's a lot in there, but it does go, to my knowledge, through the whole process, even 7th and 8th.
I can also add that I observed Christine Ebner's class giving some presentations on a genre study, a book that they had done. They had some prompts that they had to respond to, they had to present on whether they felt like this book was, whether they would recommend it. They gave summaries of the books. There were different components to the presentation. It involved some writing, but in a presentation form. It had visuals, and it was tied into the curriculum. So I don't think it was into literature exactly, but I think it was looped into the content that they had.
I'm happy to hear that you're thinking about that independent reading piece.
Yeah.
I've got 2 in elementary, and I feel like those are some wonders that I still have about the elementary piece is that my kids are sort of coming home, and maybe that's something that they're going to continue to work on, but where are they actually reading or writing? So I would want to hear more about the writing component. I don't know a whole lot about the middle school curriculum. I just had my first kid in middle school this year, but I guess my questions are around like how would this be better than what's currently in place in the middle school? Then how would this, enhance our middle school curriculum versus what's already happening?
Yeah, I think I can speak to that a little bit. So I'm new to the district, so I didn't get to see firsthand what happened last year, but I'm pretty familiar with the program, and I think that we were lacking some structure. And this program is very skills-based, and so to just piggyback off Kiana a little bit too, which is that the students are doing a lot of thinking, and they're doing a lot of analysis. There's a very strong framework for analysis, and so I saw the presentations that she's referring to also, and that was my first thought, is that students are doing original thinking about their reading, and I think that, before we even think about, there's writing structures, but there's also writing with substance, and so I'm feeling optimistic about getting kids to do, to enter writing with maybe some more depth and complexity because of the work that this program is allowing us to do. But I think, and maybe Liz can speak a little bit more specifically, but the feedback I'm hearing from teachers was a lack of structure and maybe a lack of very clear learning progressions, if that helps.
And I guess I have another question about that then too, in terms of like when you were mentioning teacher choice and being able to sort of like pick and choose what they want to do. I wonder about like the assured experience, like are there certain modules or certain like units that like all kids will be expected that they'll go through and have these experiences and in that choose the text and the writing pieces and processes. But I guess I would just don't want to be in the class where the teacher's like, oh, we're just going to get to 2 units this year.
Those would be decided as a team, and that would be important to me as well. Partly because when you get to the assessment portions of the units, like I said, the units really, they actually cover a lot. If you want to go that deep, you can. But the teachers have to make decisions together about what ends up getting actually assessed, and then have to go back and they can actually go in and edit the assessments to where they want them to focus and zoom in. So that has to be done together to make sure that students are getting the same assessments so that we can really accurately measure progress.
And maybe not just even team, but district, I would say too,
Yeah.
because then you're gonna end up in the same boat you are with the technology. Is that like 2 schools are doing 2 completely different things if you've got 2 different choices being made, or even within a school, 2 different teams making 2 different choices around what units and what work is gonna be happening. And I would imagine that those assessments then would have to be similar to the assessing the same.
We have to, Liz and I work closely together, and I think that's important to us, create some continuity and some alignment.
Yeah, I think the other thing I just wanted to add, the picking and the choosing of the text comes, there's a small section for reader's choice that comes towards the end of the unit, and I think they provide like 6 options that students can choose from. And then the long reads, which I believe Melissa talked about earlier, that provides some choice on like where they want to go and apply or transfer the skills to another text. But the unit itself should be done with fidelity, across the board.
So when you say like they'll give like, for instance, like 6 texts to choose from, I didn't work pages to do, but are those texts kind of various reading ability levels?
Yeah.
So then whose choice is it? Is it the student's choice to pick which book they want, or is it the teacher's choice to pick based on the level what students are in what books?
That's a good question on how the assignment of the text goes, but there's adapted text, there's level text, and then there's level up, I think they're called level up text. But let me look into that. Let me get back to you. Whether or not the students are choosing their instructional level or
gonna add, so I know I'm biased to 6th grade, but I think that vertical alignment as well, like just since like 6th grade is doing the into literature, I think it's super helpful to eventually like obviously survey and like meet with the 6th grade teachers who are teaching ELA to see like what they covered, what the units that they did, to see how it can go cohesively right into like 7th grade. So I think that piece is important because like obviously everything they're doing into literature, and I know kind of going back to the writing, I can speak on behalf of, I know I teach math, but like my ELA grade partners, I know like they had to write like an argumentative essay throughout like that whole entire unit. They had like an introduction piece and they had to write like the middle parts of the essay, and then like that big performance test they had to apply all their thinking they did throughout the unit to like a whole big essay. So it kind of like cohesively went like kind of adapted throughout the whole entire unit, and then kind of put the whole together, the whole performance task at the end of it. But I think that vertical alignment, like seamlessly going from 6th grade into literature, going up to 7th grade, I think will definitely be helpful to see what teachers cover. Because I know that my 2 grade partners who teach ELA, they really kind of apply, like they sit down like every week and say, okay, what should we cover, what unit should we be doing, what should we be doing for this part of the unit? So at least I know with that Nichols, they're all on the same page together. I know I can't speak on behalf of every other school, but I know that's what they do at Nichols. So I think once getting all the 6th grade teachers together, meeting with either you guys or the 7th grade teachers, I think that would be super helpful to kind of me to see what skills and what was needed, so.
So any other comments? Questions? Thank you guys very much.
Thank you both.
All right, so if there's nothing else to that, there is no old business and no tabled items. If there's nothing else.
If I could just make one,
Yeah, go ahead.
just a little preview
Yeah.
for next month. We will have the STEM coordinators here, speaking on some of the curriculums, again, that came out of the summer, but through various reasons did not make it back in front of this committee, so we'll be happy to, move some of those forward, so they'll be here. And Dr. Diorio and I will be able to share the updated revision cycle. I'm happy to report that all those blank spaces you saw are being filled in through the hard work of some of the people around this table and others who are really helping us track it down and look back at the notes and find those. And then we'll be able to share that, and then hopefully maybe before the end of the year, our goal is, of course, to have the cycles set as to how we're going to revise and update that curriculum. And then also, I'll be sharing what I'm referring to as the curriculum handbook that I'm going to present to the committee as a possible, it's something I took from my former district that I had worked on there as a sort of putting some procedures in place for how this committee can maybe let the district know how things should work and what the procedure should be to revise curriculum, to propose new curriculum, to propose new textbooks, to propose new instructional software, put those into place so we can get things in order so we don't get to where we are now again.
That's great. That's great. Look forward to that. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting. Okay.
I'll say it.
All in favor?
Really?
Lisa.
Yes, Lisa, okay.